Hey guys, what's up? This is Willie D. Thanks for joining me today as we take a look at the Mountain Laurel Designs Patrol Tarp Duo and the Serenity Bugnet Shelter Duo. And this is all Dyneema Cuben Fiber ultralight gear. Let's take a look. All right, so first thing when I get to camp, I'm gonna put down my pack. I've got a Superior Wilderness Designs Custom Long Haul 50. I'll do another gear review in this on this pack in a different video. But I got the tall side pocket here. This is where I like to put my tarp, and you can see kind of how small it packs down, just kind of like a hot dog. So we'll take that out, and then all I need is my tent stakes, which I have a combination of Mountain Laurel Design shepherd hook titanium stakes and also MSR groundhogs in the small and large size, just for different points on the tarp. That's all preference. And then this sets up with your trekking poles. So when I get to camp, I set one just above 110 centimeters for the back, and then I set the second one as high as this one will go. This goes about 135 centimeters. So that's about it. We start by staking out the back first. So first thing I want to do is lay out the tarp and get a rough idea of where I want to put it. So this is the back, and what I use for this step is 2 mini groundhog stakes and also a larger one, and then my shorter trekking pole. So the first thing that you do is roughly just stake out these corners. We can make all of our adjustments later. Just make sure those stakes are all the way in there. And on the back, there's a little tab with a grommet here, and that's what I'm going to stick the point of my trekking pole through, and then just bring this end up like that. Now, I take a larger groundhog, and I'm going to bring this line back. I don't know if you can see back here, but so there we go, there's the back. And we can make adjustments on this later, but move around to the front now. All right, so moving on to the front, you kind of do this in the opposite way as the back. Instead of doing the corners and then the trekking pole, you do the trekking pole and then the corners. So under the beak here, there's a little pocket where you can stick the pole. And I just try to center it relatively straight and pull the ridge line just moderately tight. Then while keeping that tension, I'll pull this down. I take another one of my large MSR groundhogs here and just put that in there. Next thing, we're going to tie out these corners, and you'll see the tarp really start to take its shape. Simple as that. Now, this is the point where if you were in a storm, that's about the minimum that you would need. So you don't really need to do any of the other stuff. If you just need to get out of the rain immediately, you can worry about something later, but that's about the minimum. Now, if you want, you can tie out this beak here. I use a shepherd's hook from MLD to do that. And I also, on all of my lines, I use a taut line hitch knot. I think that's what it's called. I'm not a professional, but it's a very easy sliding knot that allows you to adjust tension very easily. And you'll see this selection that I chose is a little bit narrow, and I just kind of wanted to show you what it would be like to fit into a smaller space. This is about what you would need. Just to give it more stability, there's also 2 side tie outs So I'll pull that one, and then I'll do this one here on the other side. So now that I have the basic structure set up, this is where I can start making small adjustments if I want to spend time on it. So I can take this stake out and pull it to where I need to go. And then I use this little slip knot here. And you can also use the pulls. So that's about it. As we see in the back, we have a closed foot triangle. Got a nice tight pitch all the way around. I can make adjustments to anything that I need. Here's what the front looks like. See that trekking pole's a little crooked under there. You know, I might want to pick it up and just move it. It's very easy to do. So you can really make it what you want to be. So the next step, I'll show you the Bugnet. So I always keep the Bugnet in my pack here. So we'll get that out. So here's the Bugnet. Another way that you can do this is before you set up the tarp, you can hook this Bugnet on the inside. That way it's hanging in there when you're done. All of these pieces are extremely light. They're great. So this is what this looks like. The netting is extremely abrasion resistant from what I feel. I mean, it's just really strong. So let's get down here in the tent. All right, so here we are inside the tarp. Just to give you an idea of what it's like, I'm about 5'9" or 5'10". Not a real big guy, but I mean, I can stretch out, you know, all the way up to the ridge and not touch it. There's enough room to, you know, crawl around or whatever you need. So now what I do is when I'm under here, I find the zipper side that goes towards the front. Then this back one, you'll see there's a little hook. And I have this hook here. And simply, you just hang it up like that. Now, same thing, other hook. Goes right there. So now we have the Bugnet hanging. And in the scenario where you would clip the Bugnet in before setting up the tarp, this is basically how it would already be. So you can do that as well. The next thing I do is I stake out all four corners of the Bugnet. I just use these shepherd hook titanium stakes. They're like 0.27 ounces, extremely light. And I stake them out in about the same spot that the corners are for the shelter. I'll show you. You'll see that this floor has a rigid line here, and then there's a kind of a stretchy cord. And like I said, I just put a stake in. I just put it about where the other stake is. So I'll do that to this side as well. Now moving out to the front, I'll do the same thing. Just want to make sure it's nice and tight. And there you go. So the whole thing's set up now. We have the Bugnet and the Tarp. And this would be a great option for poor weather. You know, everything's set up. I'll give you a tour of the inside, but as you see, I have this beak here, so there is an overhang, and you can put your pack out here if you want, and if it's raining, if you have some type of umbrella, that also works really well to open it up and put it right here. I don't have one of those yet, but that's kind of on my list. And that's it. It's very comfortable, very spacious for being, you know, 23 ounces total. That's not including the lines or the stakes, so I guess it's a little bit more, but as far as the Tarp and the Bugnet, 23 ounces, it's just, it's amazing. It's amazing what they're doing. So I'll give you a tour of the inside here. All right, so there's the completed system. Let's take a look on the inside here. A lot of times you need to use two hands. And these zippers are watertight. So here we are, there it is. Pockets to put stuff in on each side. I'll go ahead and here's how much room I have. That's my view for the evening if it's raining. Plenty of room to put stuff next to you, your gear, have everything set up. All right guys, now for the selling point for me, the reason I bought this tarp and the reason I think it's amazing. So when you are lucky enough to have a clear night with no chance of rain, this thing really shines. I was looking at a duplex tent by another manufacturer and definitely considering it, because I think that even though this is extremely easy to set up, the duplex is even simpler. I don't know, I've never tried it, but it just seemed like the easiest, and everybody's using them, all the ultralight backpackers, everything. So I was considering that, but this is the main reason I went with this, is on a clear night, you can set up the Bugnet shelter without the tarp, and it gives you this ventilated, open, immersive nighttime experience that cannot be described. It's like you're basically cowboy camping without the creepy crawlies or any of the bugs. You know, you don't have to worry about that. So if that's a concern to you, then you can have the feeling of sleeping just outside in the open air while still being in the shelter. So what I did is I cut out 2 lines, and that's all you need. This way to set up is under 5 minutes. It is so quick, it's so easy. So I'll show you how to do it. So the first thing you want to do is stake out your 4 corners. Very easy. You just throw this thing down, stake out the 4 corners. That takes about 30 seconds. Next thing I want to do is take this loop right here, and I know there's a better knot for this, but honestly I just tie 2 knots here. It's never failed me before, so pull it tight, and then I wrap it twice around my trekking pole. And then I come down here, use one of your stakes, and tighten. And that's it. All you have to do is do that one more time on the back. So this is all I'm doing, is just wrapping it twice around, and then it just stays. So this is it, and let me tell you, this is a great clear weather camping experience. It is just awesome. I mean, this whole thing is mesh here, and when you lay down in there, if there's some stars out, it is just a beautiful night. And the duplex tent that I was talking about, it's a Cuban fiber ceiling, and you don't have that mesh. And setting it up this way, I think, is even quicker than a duplex. So that's just my opinion. You know, I just really like this setup, and plus I don't mind fiddling around with the tarp and fine-tuning. I think it's fun. So that's about it. So in conclusion, just a couple final thoughts. The reason that I chose this is because of its versatility, and that plays a big part into it. It's also extremely lightweight, and it packs down small. It's just great. You know, if you want to just use the tarp, you can do that. If you want to use the tarp and the Bugnet, you can do that. If you just want to use the Bugnet, you can also do that. Another point that I'm sure many of you are aware of, but when, let's say it's raining really hard and you've just spent the night with the tarp and the Bugnet system together, when you wake up in the morning, you can gather all your gear, pack it up at your own pace, and not have to worry about getting wet, and then you can unclip that Bugnet and pack that away, and, you know, really make your pack waterproof and, you know, get it ready to hit the trail. And then that last thing that you do is, when you have your pack on ready to hike, you just tear down that tarp, throw it in your outside pocket to just dry off a little bit, or if it's still raining, you know, just throw it in the mesh pocket, and then you're good to hit the trail. So with other tents, it can be a little bit more difficult, and it's just nice to have that last step as the tarp to just quickly break down and hit the trail, so it keeps everything as dry as possible. So that's why I picked it. I mean, it's expensive, but honestly, when you do a hike with this, and if you plan on, obviously, if you're investing this kind of money in it, you want to do it, you want to make it a hobby that you're going to be doing a lot. If it's just one time, it's not worth it, but it's just amazingly light and comfortable to carry, and very necessary to have, especially if you're doing a long trail or any kind of high mileage days. It's just, your body thanks you at the end of the day. You just have to experience that and you'll know. But anyway, thanks for watching the video. Please comment. I'm not a professional. I'm just a camper and a hiker. So if there's anything that I was doing that, you know, you guys could offer advice to me for, I will gladly take the constructive criticism and critique, because I'm always looking to make things more efficient, quicker, lighter, you know, everything like that. So please subscribe if you like the video, and I appreciate your comments and your time. I'll catch you next time. See you guys.